Hello everybody, this is Matt with Octo Aquatics. Today I'm coming to you with a little bit of a different video. Most of my customers know me for all the fantastic acrylic products I make for their home aquariums, especially the saltwater coral reef tanks, as well as toys, carded figures, and other collectibles. I do custom cases for those as well. But today we're going to go over another passion of mine, which is video games. So I have almost 20 years of acrylic experience behind me, or plastics experience, not just acrylic. So I thought today it'd be kind of cool to go over the differences between the different slabs that are out there, pros and cons of each, and later on I'm going to try and perform an experiment. It's either going to be a success or an absolute failure. You guys will find out along with me which one it is. Might be a little controversial, I don't know, and honestly, I don't really care. This is my video. So having said that, I do want to state this video is not being sponsored by anybody. I'm receiving zero kickback, although I wish I would, to be honest with you. I'm not affiliated with any game grading company out there, and obviously don't try anything you see in this video at home. I'm a seasoned, legitimate professional. You're not. You'll mess up your games and be mad at me, so don't do anything you see. Having said that, I'm going to put these video game cases or slabs into two main categories today. Oh, forgive me for the crudeness of my video. I'm not a video person. I don't have professional equipment. I usually don't do a lot of videos. You're going to see my dog walk back and forth in the background. It is what it is. So yeah, don't ding me points on that, please. So there are two main categories I'm going to put these cases in. Number one is going to be WATA. Number two is going to be VGA, UKG, and those couple of fly-by-night companies that have recently popped up, because those are all put together in the same fashion. WATA's is the only different one. So like I said, I'm going to go over the differences, in my opinion, between the two, and then you guys make your own decision on what's best for you. It doesn't affect me, and I don't care. Having said that, I have two regular, everyday, ordinary video games here. I have a Nightmare on Elm Street that was graded by VGA. The grade is covered up for a reason. And then I have a Nightmare on Elm Street that just came back today after waiting about 8 months. And it came back with a 9.2A. This is an A grade. So first let's start with VGA and the rest. So the VGA is comprised of the front panel, which is bent on the sides to create the two sides, so the sides are not separate. Some companies actually have the separate sides. VGA and I believe UKG have the bent corners, so they use basically we call it an acrylic bending strip, and it's like a strip of tape you put down on a bench or a table, and it heats up very slowly, and then you can form the acrylic how you want to. The top piece, there's a bottom piece, and then the back goes on. These pieces are all held together by a liquid acrylic solvent. We don't call it glue. Do not refer to it as acrylic glue. It is not. It is a watery consistency. It's very cheap, very common. The only drawback, or one of the drawbacks I should say, that could affect us is going to be these bubbles in the seams. A lot of people have commented on those bubbles. Yeah, that's just kind of the natural properties of working with that solvent and material that is so thin, 0.118 inch acrylic. There's kind of no way to ensure those bubbles won't appear in this thin of material. I mean, I could definitely minimize the bubbles, but it would take so much more work, which would take so much more time, and it's not worth it for something like this. So they put all these pieces together, and the back piece is a little wider than it has to be, and then what they use is a router bit, and they flush trim the sides. And they do the same thing for the bottom. They flush trim that, put the top on, flush trim that. And then what they use is a very small jeweler's torch, and they run that along the side to what we call flame polish it, so it gets all shiny and pretty. Acrylic is the perfect choice for this purpose. To back up a little bit, acrylic offers high clarity, very easy machinability, it's readily available, and it's pretty cheap compared to other plastics. Now, having said that, it's also inherently scratch resistant, and if it does get a little scratched or a little marred, it can be buffed with plastic polishes pretty easily, as long as the scratch isn't too deep. It's not impact resistant though, so if you drop these on a hard surface, you can expect some either chipping or complete failure. It's going to come apart or something. That's the only downside, not impact resistant, but there's no way around that. WATA. The reason I put these in two distinct categories, and I had to make that very clear, is the WATA case is absolutely not like the others in every shape or form, except that it also utilizes acrylic. That's the only similarity. WATA has a bottom piece, the body, which is all one piece, a wraparound one piece, and then the top cap. Inside, our games are encased in a little plastic bubble in there. That is not acrylic. If I had to guess, that would be some type of polypropylene. The only downside to that is it's not as clear as acrylic. I can tell the difference. I don't know if you guys can, but if I examine it really close, I can tell the difference. If this is sitting on a shelf, I won't care because it won't make a difference there. But if I get real up and close and personal with it, I can notice that it does have less clarity than the acrylic. So they don't use the same liquid, watery acrylic solvent. They use what's called an acrylic, a two-part acrylic epoxy or cement. Again, we don't call it glue. This stuff is syrupy because it is two parts and much more expensive. It can have bubbles as well. It's easier to use for people who don't know how to use any type of acrylic specific adhesive. This stuff is great for their purpose because what they do is this bottom piece has a wall here that's about a ½ inch tall. The top piece also has overage. So what they do is they slather on that thick syrupy cement, and it touches a good portion of that ½ inch all the way around. And then the top also has these locking tabs. You will have to break the entire thing if you wanted to open this. It would be destroyed, which is good. That protects our investment. That's very secure. Now, I forgot. Let me back up. I forgot to say that the VGA cases are all made in-house by them. I'm guessing those. Alright, so remember earlier when I said I didn't do a whole lot of videos? Yeah. I don't know, the camera shut off and I was mumbling on about the cases, VGAs being made in-house. What I was saying next is that the WATA components are made overseas, high quality, low cost, but that can create an issue with keeping them in stock and inventory wise, which I know they've struggled with recently. So those are the main differences, but I believe I know VGAs are made in-house. I'm not sure about UKG. Those are probably made over there too in-house, and those dinky companies are probably made in-house as well. And then honestly, I have no idea what I said after that, except that at some point I did move on to my experiment that I alluded to earlier, and that was me opening a VGA case. I have opened several VGA cases and put new bottoms on just to see if I could do it, and I have found that there are a few different ways to do it. I'm not going to go into detail on how to do it successfully and cleanly. I will just tell you I know how to do it. So having said that, I will not be selling any of my VGA graded games. I don't want this to come up in the future. I would never and have never used it for unscrupulous purposes, fraudulent purposes. But just the fact that people now know I can do it, that may plant too much seed of doubt. So I won't be selling any VGA games that I have left. But what I'm going to do next, or what I did next that was not captured on film, is that I removed the bottom of this case. I even demonstrated, I turned the case over and I demonstrated that the back part of the bottom was not even attached to the rest of the case, and I was sliding my fingernail underneath there. There was a big gap. So out of the 4 sides I had to undo, one was already done for me. Thank you. That made it a little easier for me. So when the camera wasn't rolling, I did proceed to pop off the bottom and put on a new one and trimmed it up and polished it up, and now you're going to see a clip of what it looks like after the new bottom was put on. And then my camera crapped out on me again. There wasn't much left after that, just to prove I put the new bottom on and there wasn't a game in there anymore. And that was basically the end of the video. So comment below, let me know what you think. Good points, bad points of each company. That's cool. Let me know if there's any other videos you'd be interested in seeing in. Alright, thanks. Alright, we are back. Boom. New bottom. No game inside. Same label. Same tape. All that matches.